Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly, the pro wrestling show we bring you each and every week by definition and by name. We have a great show for you tonight, plenty to discuss. We're going to be going through a lot of stuff, namely AEW Grand Slam coming up tomorrow. We'll take a quick look at Dynamite's 5th year anniversary. We haven't padded that out yet, but certainly we'll get your thoughts on Ospreay versus Ricochet and that. We're going to have a chat about that SmackDown, that cinematic showdown or stare down between Cody and Roman, and what does it mean heading into Bad Blood. We're going to get your thoughts in the chat as well of we're going to flash up the wrestling errors there, and we're going to find out off you guys which era did you begin watching wrestling. We're going to take a look at main event. Jey Uso finally becoming main event and becoming Intercontinental Champion, and we'll show the reaction as well from people internally in WWE and how they felt about it. Seems a long time in the making. We're going to be talking about Goldust, Dustin Rhodes. His contract apparently up in the next week or so. Apparently it's going to be up before Bad Blood. What does that mean? Could we see Dustin Rhodes return? Could we see the bloodline turn on Cody Rhodes? Could this separation between Roman and the bloodline all be a ruse to get Cody into the ring, to drop that ultimate beatdown on him? And could Dustin come in to save the brother? Who knows? We'll get your thoughts on that as well. And Vince McMahon dropping a statement today on the eve of the Netflix documentary coming out tomorrow, so we can't wait for that as well. We get your thoughts on that. We'll read out the statement, see how you feel about it, what you think about it, and all that kind of stuff. And we'll have little bonus shows now over the next 6 weeks, because we're going to be doing reviews as we always do, like Dark Side of the Ring. We will be doing reviews of that Netflix documentary, delving deep into it. Sounds like there's going to be some interesting stuff in there, some news coming out today that, we'll get into it later, but that Vince, tried to buy the documentary back and got Ari Emanuel to try and intervene as well, and all sorts of stuff. So let's see how that goes. But starting tomorrow, cannot wait. I've never wished to get to a Wednesday more. Imagine how good a Wednesday is it when you're going to have AEW Grand Slam. We're going to talk about it. Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness, which for me is wrestling royalty. Wrestling royalty. Then we have the Vince documentary. And today, it's Stephanie McMahon's birthday. How do you celebrate your birthday if you're the daughter of the guy who's about to go out on the Netflix documentary? And AEW, of course, dropping Grand Slam as well. So absolutely fabulous. We'll go through the Grand Slam card. I may or may not have everything in here. I'm not too sure what else has been decided, but I think I'm pretty much up to date. We'll get your thoughts on that as well. But we are going to talk about Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness, and we'll go through some of the history. I have it there. And I often say to you guys, I think I've mentioned it a number of times on the podcast, if there was one wrestling match I can watch over and over again, it's Unified from the great Liverpool, the great city of Liverpool. Nigel McGuinness and Bryan Danielson absolutely tore the house down. Widely regarded as Bryan Danielson's best match. And who knows what might have happened if Nigel hadn't had the health issues that he had. But now that he's back, absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait to see this match tomorrow night. And it takes a lot, for me to sit up and give my time to a Dynamite live. I don't normally have the time to do it. But tomorrow night I will be absolutely doing that. Can't wait for this. Owe it to these guys, I have to say. That period in ROH with these two boys, right through from what does it span? When we talk about long-term storytelling, we're talking about 05 to 09. 05 to 09. And then obviously Bryan Danielson going off and having an unbelievable career in WWE. When you think of everything that he achieved in WWE, you think of the Yes Movement, you think of all these other things. And you think that Unified match is widely regarded as his greatest match. So if you have any ideas, on what your favorite Bryan Danielson match is, let them know. Drop it in the chat, right? But let's get through this anyway. We'll start. First of all, before we get into anything, last Friday I was in work. I was sitting there the usual Friday, prepping for Saturday and all that kind of stuff. And I was doing a bit of paperwork. I was going through orders. I was serving people, the usual. And then it went a little bit quiet. About 2:30, I think it was. Maybe 2 o'clock went a little bit quiet. And a guy who I now regard as a colleague and a friend, because we've spoken so much at this stage. And I'm really going to try and get him on the podcast, but I know he does be so busy. But you will not meet. When you talk about, when people ask me about wrestlers I've met and how were they and stuff like that, this guy is top chain. This guy is gravy. This guy is the nicest guy, and his beautiful wife who dropped in as well. New wife, except they were on their honeymoon in Ireland, spending it in Ireland for a week or whatever it was. And he dropped in, took time out of his honeymoon to drop in and make contact with me again, which I'm so grateful for. Who other than Brian Heffron, the Blue Meanie? Dropped in, signed up all into the changing room, signed ECW hats, signed a couple of bits there and stuff like that as well. But we had a great chat. He's a great guy. We were chatting about podcasting, we were chatting about the wrestling, we were chatting about what he's been up to. We were talking about he was busy WrestleMania week in Philly, of course. He was doing tours of the old ECW arena and stuff like that. And I asked him how was that and all. And from an emotional point of view, how was it going back, reliving those memories and all that kind of stuff with people. He was doing VIP stuff for WWE and all sorts of stuff. So it was great to hear he was so busy. Saturday, he was heading down to Galway with his wife, and then Sunday he was coming back up. He was attending, he's a big Philadelphia Eagles fan. He was attending a watch party in JP Mahon's, I think it is, which is where I think the Irish Philadelphia Eagles supporters club, that's where they do their watch party. So he was heading to that. But a great guy. We had a great chat. We chatted about so much stuff. It was brilliant to finally meet his wife. She's an absolute fireball. She's brilliant, like, you know what I mean? That she's full on great energy and stuff like that. We had a great chat. We were chatting about crystals and jewelry and all sorts of stuff. So it was really cool. And we had a good time. So shout out to him. So I told him if I'm heading over to Vegas in the new year for WrestleMania, that we're definitely going to meet up. He mentioned this Heart Attack Grill, I think it's called. So myself and himself, if he is there, we will definitely check that out, no doubt about it. So shout out to the Blue Meanie, absolute gent, taking time out to drop in and say hello. We really appreciate it. Right, let's get into this Grand Slam. Before we start, let's get into the OGs in the chat. Sean's in, evening. Good to see you. Make sure, folks, subscribing, bell notification, all that good stuff. And hit a like on the video. The like on the video, they're going up, guys. So you're doing the job. You're doing what needs to be done. Just keep it going. Keep on liking. So important. You can see it from the videos and from the lives on the channel there. The ones with the higher views are the ones generally with the higher likes. So it goes the way. Daz is in as well. Big up, Daz. What's the crack? All good. Vince didn't like the booking. The booking was changed. Yeah, absolutely. Ted's in. Today, Stephanie's birthday. Tomorrow, will Vince tell us about what happened with her and Macho Man? Probably not, but I believe there's going to be a conversation about, remember the pregnancy storyline he wanted to go with? Apparently, that's included in it. So that should make for some interesting listen. Eno's in. What's a crack? Big up, Eno. Good to see you. Can't wait to see you Friday for a chat. I will send you the card after about 10:10. Awesome stuff. Shout out Meanie. He's a gentleman and a scholar. He really is. He did me a huge favor back when I met him at WrestleCon, and I didn't forget it. Has he ever had a packet of meanies? I don't know, but he was enjoying. He had a few Guinness and a few stout, and they were having Irish coffees and all sorts of stuff. So they were embracing Ireland fully. They went to Temple Bar. They were on that webcam thing that's at the Temple Bar pub or Oliver Gogarty's or whatever it is, right on that corner there. And they were talking to friends and all. So they really took it all in. Is Nigel having a breakdown? Is Nigel having a breakdown? I have no idea. It's Reg Russell, folks. I have no idea. Right. No, Nigel is definitely not having a breakdown if you're talking about McGuinness. Right, let's get into this. Okay, we'll touch on Dynamite, okay, coming up, their 5th year anniversary coming up. and it looks like it's going to be headlined by Ospreay versus Ricochet. Where we spoke about this, and when I seen that Ricochet was coming in, one of the things I spoke about was maybe we should keep these guys apart for a while. Don't just flush at everything. Don't throw the cards in straight away on something that we have seen quite a bit of. And for OTT fans, we've seen this even up close and personal in the Tivoli Theatre, and it's as much sensational live as it is when you watch it on TV. Incredible what both these guys can do. But the question is, going into AEW, these guys have been apart for a while now. Are they going to bring us something different? Are we going to get a rinse and repeat? Or are we going to get the usual Power Ranger type of stuff? Or are these guys going to put a different slant on it? Both have matured greatly in their careers. Can they give us something different? Can they turn it up a notch? Can they deliver something a little bit different than the typical acrobatics and all the stuff that we typically see from both these guys? So let's see what happens there. So we'll touch on that more as we get closer to it. I'm sure a lot more matches are going to be announced. I really haven't focused on it, but I just wanted to touch on that. So let me know your thoughts. Is it a bit too soon for Ospreay and Ricochet? Is it too quick? Are they giving it away too quick? Or is it the right time? Let's see. Right, so let's get into this then. Grand Slam, Dynamite, and Collision coming up. Matches that we have, of course, we'll run down through them. We'll go with the Collision ones first. Tornadoes Trail match, Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith versus Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Mark Briscoe. Should be good. And then we have Saraya versus Jamie Hayter in a Saraya's Rules match, and MXM Collection to reveal that what they did with Max Caster's jacket. That's what I have so far in that. I'm sure there's probably going to be more, but we shall see. I hope we see a full technical match from them. No flips. Now, Ted, easy now. No flips. Easy. I'd like to see a little bit of both. A little bit of both would be nice. Right, let's get into the Dynamite side of it. AEW World Champion Bryan Danielson taking on Nigel McGuinness in a non-title match. Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin for Allin's AEW World title shot. And kind of see where that's going to go probably. AEW Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, defend against Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. And then we have AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May defends against Yuka Sakazaki. Hope I pronounced that right. AEW Trios Champions Claudia Castagnoli, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta defend against to be decided. I'm not sure if they've decided that yet. They probably have at this stage, but I didn't update it. It's going to be interesting to see how those three boys on the backdrop of the last pay-per-view, how those three boys operate together, considering what happened with Wheeler Yuta and Pac and all and Claudio. FTW champion Hook defends against Roderick Strong. We got a lumberjack strap match, Hangman Page versus Jeff Jarrett. And an AEW Continental title eliminator match, Okada versus Sammy Guevara. That's what I have so far. I'm sure there's probably more. No doubt I have missed a few. Big up, John. Good to see you. Glad you're in the chat, man. Appreciate you coming in and taking the time. Let us know your thoughts on that. But I suppose the real one to talk about here, there's a lot of sprinkling of some interesting stuff in there, but the real one is top of the billing, isn't it? Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. Did a listing here today from their ROH times. Not just ROH, but WSW as well, and various other things that they did as well. But it really started 2005, March the 5th. 2005, the Ring of Honor Trios tournament in Pennsylvania National Guard Armory. We had Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, and Vordell Walker defeated James Gibson, Nigel McGuinness, and Spanky. That's where it kind of all began. A couple of other events, but then we really get to ROH Generation Now. Bryan Danielson defeated Nigel McGuinness in the Cleveland Grays Armory. There's a lot of armories in this as well, because that's where they were at the time. And then obviously we go to Unified in Liverpool in the United Kingdom. As I said, regarded as probably their best ever match. Finished on a referee's decision. Both boys, I think, in this one was the one where they opened each other hard style off the post and all. As far as I know, both boys were absolutely covered in claret. But check out that match, Unified, ROH Unified from Liverpool. One of our biggest selling Ring of Honor DVDs back then as well. So it was absolutely massive at the time. Then they go through a whole plethora of matches that brings them through 06, 07. Some brilliant ones in there. Bryan Danielson and Morishima defeated Kenta and Nigel McGuinness. Absolutely outstanding. These are all like when I talk about Unified being the match, none of these matches are bad matches. These are all top notch. $10,000 one as well. $10,000. Austin Aries, Bryan Danielson, and Mark Briscoe and Matt Sydal defeated Delirious, Jay Briscoe, Nigel McGuinness, and Roderick Strong. Some awesome matches in here, guys. Survival of the Fittest 2007. What a match. Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. Time limit draw. This is how they built these storylines, and they built this history with them and stuff. The 6th anniversary show, McGuinness defeated Bryan Danielson at the Manhattan Center in New York. Absolutely incredible. And as we go all the way up through it, the last one then in ROH was 2009. Bryan Danielson defeated Nigel McGuinness, again from the Manhattan Center. Glory by Honor 8, the final countdown. Says it all, doesn't it? The final countdown. What more can we say? What a famous song that they play in AEW for him as well. Unbelievable. But there was so many matches in there, folks. If you're looking for a match listening, just go on to cagematch.net, type in the two boys, and it'll give you a full match listen. And I would implore you to go and look at a few of those. Or if you have time tomorrow, if you're catching Grand Slam tomorrow, if you have time beforehand, catch the highlights. Even go in, see on YouTube if they have a highlight show of these two boys. The stuff that these boys have put together over the years is absolutely sensational. And when you talk about long-term storytelling, we're talking about a story that started back in March 2005. And here are these boys now main eventing September 25th, 2024. A lot of time in between. Right, let's get into it. Ian, still waiting on Shane McMahon to tell us about that contract. I'm waiting. It's gone a bit cold, hasn't it? It's gone a bit cold. I think if they do flips, they have to do the full lot, or people will just shit in the match. Yeah, maybe you're right. I think so. I'm waiting for AEW Shockwave to replace AEW Rampage. Yeah. Interesting, John. Ted, I remember when Nigel went to TNA as Desmond Wolfe, and had his matches with Kurt. There was a lot of rumors that Vince lost his shit, that they hadn't signed him. Ask him why nobody told him about Nigel. Yeah, true story. And he was brilliant in there as well. But his ROH work is just different gravy. And you know something? Nigel had so much chemistry with so many guys in there. When you think about Bryan Danielson, you think about Samoa Joe. He had so many great matches in there. Matches with the Briscoes, so much stuff. Absolutely legendary stuff. And these are icons in the business now. When you think of Bryan Danielson, you think of Sami Zayn, who was in there, Seth Rollins probably wouldn't have been in there as much at that time. It would have been more at the tail end, probably. The Briscoes, Roderick Strong. Like, there's a match with Roderick Strong in it, who's on the show. Roderick is facing, where did I go with that one? Where's Roddy? There, Roddy, FTW champion. Hook defends against Roderick Strong. That's Roderick Strong going for the FTW championship tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. And there he is in 2007. Roderick Strong in a match there, So there's a lot of time in this, you know what I mean? A lot of time being put in, and these are bona fide people who deserve your time, folks, to look at stuff, Hell was great in ROH, but at the time, I think that was one of the first times I've ever heard of Vince fuming. They hadn't even tried sign somebody. Yeah, absolutely, just incredible. Incredible stuff, and I expect both these guys tomorrow night to absolutely tear it down and bounce it out of the park. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think? Are you fans of ROH? Were you fans of it back then? I always take a lot of pride in telling people we were the first wrestling retail store to stock TNA and ROH merchandise back in the day. The very, very first one. And it it plays on me. I talk about it all the time. I'm very proud of that fact, to be honest. Right, let's talk about this. We got ourselves a little bit of cinematic stuff on Friday. Let us know in the chat. What was your thoughts on this? How did you feel about it? Rocking up both boys claiming ground for different reasons. Cody showing up in the sports car. Roman showing up with 7 Cadillac Impalas or whatever it was, big blackout Jeeps, stuff like that. Is the 7 Jeeps a significant thing? Let me know. Ted, loved old ROH. I think I bought a best of ROH from the shop back in the day. You probably did. And it took a lot of convincing. And it was at a time as well. The reason we kind of went that route was obviously the quality of the wrestling and stuff like that. But we also went that route because if you remember at the time, WWE was going through a real downturn kind of cycle and stuff like that. Product wasn't what it should be and stuff like that. So people were looking for something a little bit different. So when they came in, I used to ask them, I used to say, well, are you looking for something a little bit different? Something that's a little bit rough about the edges, something that's kind of a bit, what we tended to go and see. Because I used to love going to the local shows and the ones that they did, like the Gym War shows and stuff like that. So I used to love going to the Wolf Town for NWA Ireland and the gym shows and IWW as well. And CPW started doing it. Joe started doing a few as well. I used to love going to them. So when I watched ROH on the DVDs, it felt like I was at those gym shows. It was kind of very, very rough cut. And it was kind of gritty and it was kind of nasty and it was kind of cool. But it was unbelievable. Then I went to, when I was at WrestleMania 25, the night before, I went to ROH. I think it's Take No Prisoners it was. And there was some fabulous stuff on that. And one of the matches that always sticks out in my mind is Kenta versus David Richards. Was absolutely outstanding what those two boys did. And unbelievable stuff. So check those out as well if you wish. I wasn't sold on this promo at all myself. Felt they did what they could do make this seem like an epic promo, but the content of the promo itself was poor. It's in our group on X-Noil. Perfect. Great stuff. Love it. But overall chat, what did you make of it and stuff like that? Did you make, Ted, even though the inners of it you weren't, what did you make of him having 7 Jeeps? Was the 7 Jeeps symbolic of something in terms of the bloodline? What was your thinking on it? Why not 3? Why not 4? Why not 1? Why pulling up with the 7 of them? Did you read into that, or was there anything in that? Or are we just trying to pump ourselves up for bad blood? Let me know. Just want to check in the chat as well, folks. Here's all the errors broken down. Let me know what error WrestleMania did this, put it together. Great graphic. Let me know which error you kind of started following wrestling. When did you dip in? On which error was your error? It'd be good to know that as well. Right, we're going to talk main event. Main event finally became main event. How did we feel about this? What did we think of it? Unbelievable pop. Lots of people talking about it. Even people, I seen Mike Bennett tweeting as well that even though there's a lot of hate and a lot of shade and stuff like that and all, he couldn't but not pop for Jey Uso and all. He was absolutely happy for him. How were we? The boy finally arrived. Singles title, IC champion. How did we feel about Braun's run? How did we feel about it ending this way? And what did we think that so many people so excited? You could see the emotion in Jey Uso. We did talk for a long time about how it was kind of stalling a bit on main event. It didn't kind of feel like it was main event Jey Uso. We were talking about how the tag team, maybe the sum of the parts getting put back together would be the move rather than keeping the boys separated, because they were such a phenomenal tag team. A lot of people would argue probably the greatest tag team. Absolutely phenomenal. What a run they've had in WWE. Incredible. But Jay, and I'm sure Jimmy was somewhere smiling when he seen this as well. And, we got a response from a few there. You could see how they reacted to it. WWE Chief Content Officer Triple H lauded Jey Uso for his hard work and all, and congratulated him on his win. The embodiment of hard work paying off is main event Jey Uso. All-time great in the tag team division, and now has won one of the most historic championships in our business. Congratulations, Jey. yeet. That's from the gaffer. Big praise there from the gaffer, I have to say. And I just hope now he can carry that strap in that Gunther type vein, make it really, really meaningful again, put it on that path again. And is this the beginning of the road for main event Jey Uso to catapult himself then into the heavyweight belt or the WWE Undisputed Championship? Is that the next pathway for him through this IC belt? We know they did a great job on it with Gunther, and it became the gatekeeper belt again, which we always talk about how important that is. But it's going to be really important now. The company's put the strap on him. It's up to him to pick up that ball now and run with it. Jey Uso's father and WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi was seemingly ecstatic at his son's win, even asking Mammy Rhea Ripley to join in with the celebrations, no doubt. This Jey and Rhea thing is absolutely quality as well, isn't it? It's gas as well. And Jey Uso's former tag team partner and current WWE champion Cody Rhodes made his post short but sweet. Yeet. Absolutely. Rhea Ripley, 14 years. He deserved this. Take your moment, Oos. Great post. And Damian Priest as well. Very deserved. Proud and excited for you. Congratulations, Oos. So I think all round, I think everyone is pretty happy that this boy has now picked up a singles title. But let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? How did you feel about it? In debuts on the next podcast, REGG or USSELL. There we go. But let me know how you felt about this. We'll talk about Ted as well. I originally was thinking the 7 Jeeps might have meant something, but then Cody mentioned it's which kind of made me think it wasn't significant, as they usually try to not make it so obvious. They have been making things so obvious, haven't they? Like when you think when Cody got the beat down, remember the truck and all? So there's lots of stuff where they've been dropping these kind of little clusters and Easter eggs and stuff like that and all. I don't know. I think the 7 Jeeps, like why 7? 7 members of the bloodline? Who knows? I'm not too sure. But I'm just wondering why 7? Why 7? And is this, does this relationship with Cody and Roman, even though it's against the bloodline and stuff like that, is it as wholesome as we think? Or is blood truly thicker than wood? Let me know. Very, very interesting though, but I'm pumped for Bad Blood. As I said, it's one of the strongest cards I've seen this year, and I think it could be potentially even stronger than the Mania card, even though the Mania card was built up so pumped on The Rock and everything and all. But when you look at this card, there's not a bad match on it, and we're likely going to get Gunther versus Sami as well, aren't we? So we'll have an update on that as well once it drops. When can you see Jimmy coming back? I'm not too sure, because I know Rikishi's been putting out posts praying for him and stuff like that. So that led us to believe that maybe he was ill and he was seriously sick. Then we had Jimmy coming out saying, no, I'm fine. So I'm not too sure what they were trying to do there, or whether they were trying to work the internet community. I'm not too sure. But yeah, you would think if it's ever going to happen, that's probably something's going to happen at Bad Blood as well, isn't it? The truck gave it away, but they didn't have somebody on the show say, look at who's on the truck, if you get me. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know what you mean. Yeah, they didn't have someone actually highlighting it. Like we had to kind of back off with ourselves and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. But it's just, I just think it has to be significant, 7 of them, I think Cody is going heel soon, to be honest. Teaming with Roman is going to burn bridges with people like Seth, who gave up everything for him to beat Roman. Yeah, true. Could be a kickback, a backlash out of that, couldn't he? Could be. We spoke about it the other day, Ted, didn't we? Found one of the ROH DVDs I bought. Best of Punk's ROH stuff. Oh, man. Quality. They did a Summer of Punk as well, didn't they? They did a Summer of Punk as well, which is so good. Zilla to make his debut, a possible run-in. Interesting. Last I read yesterday, and I don't know whether, again, it's just kind of derailing us. I read yesterday that Zilla might be signing with AEW. And when I read it, I kind of thought about it, spoke to Darren about it this morning, and I said, that doesn't make any sense, sure it doesn't. He's hardly going to go and sign with AEW if the rest of the family is sitting in WWE. Will kind of feel a little bit strange, to say the least. But I have to say, generally speaking, I think everyone is absolutely stoked on Jey Uso becoming IC champion. I think it was a huge moment and stuff like that. Let's talk about this man. We mentioned it at the start of the show. Dustin Rhodes, Goldust, the man. Met him a couple of times, an absolute gent. Actually, funny enough, nice kind of irony there. I met him with Chris Benoit. So there you go. But an absolute gent. But what do we make of this? This man apparently is out of contract. Apparently at the end of this week, I think it is, or very, very soon, before the end of September anyway. Do we see him coming back? And if he came back, what would they do with him? Would they put him with Cody again? Would they do something different? I think he would be fantastic down in the performance center, nurturing that new crop coming through and stuff like that as well. I think he'd be a massive plus and addition to Shawn Michaels' team down there on NXT as well. And also as a performer as well. Creativity, road agent out back, anything. There's so much this guy has to offer the business. And he always does it as well, if you've spoken to him, being around him, in a very calm, positive. He has a great mind for the business, real easy to understand way of doing things and stuff like that. So could he come back? And if things did kick off with the bloodline and with Cody, is this the man who could rock up a Bad Blood? Let me know your thoughts on it. The other option is that he re-signs in AEW and he secures his financial future for the rest of his life. He is at that age now as well, where he has to think about securing his financial future and retirement and all that kind of stuff as well. And we did hear, I think Conrad was talking to Eric Bischoff about it as well, and he let slip as well that there's a Rhodes tag team going on at the moment. The kids. There's a tag team there. So, and Conrad was alluding to the fact of another bloodline. When you talk about the Rhodes family, Cody, Dustin, and the tag team with the kids, that should be very, very interesting as well if that was to come to fruition. But let me know, what would you think in the chat? Would you like to see Dustin back in WWE? I often feel as well that kind of to complete the circle. We spoke about this on so many podcasts with Ian as well when we were talking at the time when Punk was being touted into AEW and stuff like that. You got to go back in there and complete that circle, don't you? That WWE. Got to go back in there and do that, don't you? But let me know what you think. Where are we? Here, Ted. God, I haven't watched this DVD in years. Think I'll have to give it a watch soon. Absolutely, Ted. Absolutely, 100%. It just throws you back there again, doesn't it? Just throws you back there again. JBL just showing up here and there, yeah, absolutely causing murder. I think if he comes back to WWE, it's originally to take a huge bloody beatdown from the bloodline to make them seem dangerous. Maybe. But it'd be pretty cool. Kevin Owens heel turn. Yeah, Kevin at the moment, he's they're negotiating a contract, aren't they, at the moment? His contract, I think, from what I read, is up in October. And sure, he's going to be on AEW's radar as well. I can't see a situation where Kevin Owens was to leave WWE, but I have to say, he's very good friends with the Bucks. He's very good friends with Adam Cole and a number of people over there in AEW. And if the bag was big enough, would it be tempting enough? Would he be frustrated enough with creative to make that decision? And also the somewhat reduced schedule as well. And obviously getting probably more money. I'm not sure what Kevin's contract is like. I'm sure he's handsomely paid in WWE, but I'm sure he earns every penny of it as well. Could you see a situation where Kevin Owens goes to AEW? Or do you think it's WWE? It's hard to know, but we will see. So that's why I think there's not. It's kind of like turn heel. Will I? Won't I? Will I? Won't I? Is it just passing time? Is it what is it? You know. They're talking about Jacob being this unhinged killer, but he hasn't done anything outrageous yet. I think Goldust Destruction could be it. Not a bad one at all. Not a bad one at all. But I think Jacob. I think we have seen some signs of it, haven't we? Like he's a beast. He's a monster. You know what I mean? The thing about it is, does Goldust come back as Goldust or does he come back as Dustin Rhodes? I don't know whether the Goldust character sits in there. I think he'd have to come back as Dustin Rhodes. You know? But yeah, again, let me know your thoughts. So there you go. Goldust contract supposed to be expiring before the end of September. Kevin Owens, I believe, is October. So they'll want to renew that as well, or would AEW be sniffing around? Let me know your thoughts on that. Let's finish out the topics tonight as well with Vince. So obviously this is the statement. We'll read the statement out because I don't expect you to put your beady eyes into that. I wouldn't. But the statement that was released on his Twitter account, probably Instagram as well, reads, I don't regret participating in this Netflix documentary. The producers had an opportunity to tell an objective story about my life and the incredible business I built, which were equally filled with excitement, drama, fun, and a fair amount of controversy and life lessons. Unfortunately, based on an early partial cut, I've seen this doc fall short and takes the predictable path of conflating the Mr. McMahon character with my true self, Vince. The title and promos alone make that evident. Now, what I took out of that, the first thing I thought, I spoke to Darren about this morning, the first thing I took out of that was, remember, if you watch the documentary, Nobody Speaks, and Hogan was in that, the Gawker case, and he was talking about how Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan are not the same person. Read into that what you will. Is this what we're getting here? A lot is being misrepresented or left out entirely in an effort to leave viewers intentionally confused. The producers use typical editing tricks with out-of-context footage and dated sound bites, etc., to distort the viewer's perception and support a deceptive narrative. In an attempt to further their misleading account, the producers use a lawsuit based on an affair I ended as evidence that I am, in fact, Mr. McMahon. I hope the viewer will keep an open mind and remember that there are two sides to every story. There we go. So that's the statement from Vince McMahon on the eve of the documentary releasing. So is he preempting something here? Is there a kind of a side switch? Let me know. Ted, he is a beast, but has he done anything that we didn't see loads of heels do before? Like, he hasn't done anything crazy for me. Yeah, probably not to that level yet, but I think it's in there. I think it's in there, and it's in him. Hulk Hogan has a 10-inch dick. Terry doesn't. Yeah, Ted, you watched it. Folks, if you haven't watched Nobody Speaks, and the Hogan section of it is such a small section, this goes into crazy stuff. I actually watched this documentary over probably once every 3 or 4 months. It's absolute madness, but it's a huge insight into Silicon Valley and everything that goes on and that kind of all shady world and stuff like that. But it opens with the Hogan Gawker case. It's very, very interesting to listen to Hulk Hogan talking about the size of his manhood compared to Terry Bollea's, and that they're two totally different people. And this is just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. Vince is being a bit silly here. I think he knows what the public opinion is of him and is now on what the best selling point of a show about his life is. Yeah, I think so. I agree, Ted, as well. And it'd be interesting to see what they come out with as well, won't it? What they actually come out with is going to be very, very interesting, I have to say. But yeah, let me know. You all set for this? And listen, as we said, we'll do a few extra shows over the next 6 weeks. So we'll do one every week. And what we'll do is we'll do a review of each of the weekly episodes, get your thoughts on it and stuff like that. And if anyone wants to come on and do the reviews with me, you're more than welcome to come on if you've watched it. Review the episode, give us your thoughts on it. The beauty of pro wrestling, it's all opinion-based and everyone always has a different opinion. I think you'll still find that there's people in the Vince McMahon camp that want to see how this all plays out and stuff like that, and that whole two sides to every story. But we shall see how it goes. He time travels, that Terry Hogan chap. He time travels. Yeah, absolutely. How good was that? Unreal. Right, let's take some history. Let's go back then. 2001. WWE Unforgiven was held in the Mellon Arena in Pittsburgh. 3 titles changed hands during the event, with Christian pinning Edge for the Intercontinental title, Rhino taking the WCW United States title from Tajiri, also by pinfall, and Kurt Angle forcing Steve Austin to tap to his ankle lock to win the WWF Championship. Unforgiven 2001. One definitely worth watching again and again. 2013, Monday Night Raw featured The Shield, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose being put into an 11 versus 3 handicap tag team elimination match against Daniel Bryan, Darren Young, Dolph Ziggler, The Usos, Justin Gabriel, Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, Rob Van Dam, Titus O'Neil, and Zack Ryder. This match was the first time that Roman Reigns had been pinned in WWE. There we go. 1984, the Hammer, Greg Valentine, defeated Arriba, Tito Santana, in London, Ontario, Canada, to win the WWF Intercontinental Championship. Two fabulous wrestlers. I was such a Tito Santana fan. Again, an absolute gentleman if you made him. 1993, Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels left WWF with the belt still in his possession. Michaels was suspended for failing a drug test, which he denies, and walked out on the company. Michaels would make his return at that November Survivor Series pay-per-view, 1993. 2000. This is a bad one, folks. Strap yourself in for this one. I was nearly not even including it. Vince Russo defeated Booker T in a steel cage match to win the WCW Championship on Monday Nitro. The world collectively put their head in their hands. Join me, folks. I didn't even want to include it, but I did it. There we go. 2007, the WWE Cruiserweight Championships, then held by Hornswoggle, was retired. It would not return until 2016. 1999, the highest rated segment in Raw history. Of course, we know what it is. It's Mick Foley presenting This Is Your Life presentation to The Rock. We've covered this so many times on the show. 1998, at a Raw's War tape, and one of the most famous skits in Raw history occurred. With Vince McMahon in hospital, he was first visited by Mankind in a comedy segment that featured the debut of Mr. Socko, and later on, McMahon was attacked by Stone Cold Steve Austin. There we go. That's your history. Notable birthdays. Finish it out. Matt Hardy, 1974. Kerry Zane, 1988. Sonya Deville, 1993. Christopher Nowinski, 1978. We mentioned it on the top of the hour. Stephanie McMahon, 1976. Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, as I would know him from his Jim Crockett promotion days, 1952. Him and Precious in that storyline with Ric Flair and also Dusty Rhodes. Asuka, 1981. Jason Jordan, 1988. And we finish it out with Mr. Hardcore himself. Kind of fitting that we finish with this guy, especially when we had Meanie in the shop on Friday. One Steve Blackman, 1963. Rounds out your birthdays. So there you go. Ted's in. I think we are going to see a lot of stuff that people like us who are really into wrestling already know. I'm not sure how much new info we'll get. Yeah, it's going to be, and you see, that's the thing. You're going to tune in case there's a couple of little nuggets there that we didn't get. Right? But I tell you, so many people are talking about this. We've had people over to the house that are talking about, they're not even wrestling fans. That bedpan clunking on Vince's noggin lives rent-free in my head. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few people in the world right now would love to lay that bedpan in. Just saying. There you go. Until next time, folks. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate everyone in the chat. Make sure you're signing up to all the pages in the chat as well, folks. All the channels. Could you see Bray and Sid getting inducted? Getting inducted. I presume you mean inducted into the Hall of Fame, is it? Absolutely. Absolutely. I could see that happening. The only thing I would say is they don't normally, there's normally only one, is it? One deceased normally. So I'm not too sure what way that's going to go, but we shall see. But as we build up to that, we'll let it know. There is some talk out there. We might cover it in a week or two and see. Let's see. We are over and out, folks. We certainly are. So, folks, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and drop a like on the video. Yeah, Ted, spot on. I don't think Bray and Sid both go in the same year. No, absolutely not. They don't tend to purge, if you like, that amount of death all in one. Because it's a tough one, you know. And let's be honest here. You know, Bray's Hall of Fame is going to be very, very tough. Very, very tough. So let's see what happens. But until next time, folks, enjoy your evening. I am back tomorrow night at 9 o'clock with Mark. We're going to be interviewing William Tyrrell, who is the chief scout for Norwich City here in Ireland. So make sure you get your questions ready for that. That's a great show, Ted. Victoria, delighted for that. That will be class. So make sure, get your questions in for William. Anything you'd like to know about the scouting process, what he does, how it goes down, what happens, all that kind of inner workings of scouting and stuff like that as well. That's tomorrow night at 9. And of course, Thursday, I will be back with Darren Thursday, Tier Talk, 9 o'clock, Premier League preview, beat the bookie, all the usual information going around. You do have a question. You have my question. No problem at all. Absolutely love it. World of Sport Road Warriors. There we go. Right, folks. Talk to you again soon. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Like on the way out. Don't forget, like on the way out. Hit that like button. Talk to you real soon. Cheers.